Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Social Liability Podcast. This is your host, the Raspberries, with my co-host, the Buck Grundle, and our special guest from the Mount Moon Crew, Saydar. Hello, Saydar.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh, now she's lying. So.
Hi, Saydar.
Hi.
Hi. So, Buck, how you been this week, man? I hear you got some new interesting laws there in the Grand Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah, the Commonwealth of Virginia has just decided to become the next state in the union to legalize marijuana.
Now, is it going to be medical or recreational?
Since I would qualify for either or, all I did was just I didn't dig too far into it. I just figured that the second they said legal weed, that my crippled ass would qualify, and that was it. So
weed? What? Huh? Weed?
You started doing wheelies.
He started doing wheelies.
That's essentially how it was. I mean, like, I almost got caregiver Katie to break out the freaking olive oil to put on the kitchen floor and start drifting. Like, I was just like, yeah.
Jeez. Well, I mean, here in the I'm not gonna say great state. I'll just say in the state of Oklahoma, we got more pot than you can shake a stick at.
More pot dealers.
And pot stores and pot memorabilia and just straight up pot. You know, I had to go into a guy's house one day to survey some damage that he was claiming, and I walked into this dude's bedroom and there's just plants everywhere, and he's like, whatever, you know. I'm literally there as a government official. Dude didn't give a shit. And it just boggled my mind. And I was like, are you sure? This didn't care.
I don't know if I would care. I would probably still care. But I'm just elated.
Well, Buck, we have some interesting stories from all over the internet because, of course, with the Social Liability Podcast, I normally say this at the beginning, but I got all flustered and I really screwed up the intro. But this is the show where we talk about people that violate the social contracts that we all agree to live by. And we got some doozies this week, all of which have a ring of felonious activity to them.
Douchebaggery, would you say?
Felonious douchebaggery. Unfortunately, we already used that title for an episode, so we had to go with something else for this one. But let's start with, what is that? News 4 Jacksonville. Kimberly Kessler tasered after throwing feces on officers at jail.
Lovely.
I've never had it happen. And I was inside of a jail for 7 years. Working on the block for 5. You were there for about the same amount of time.
I was there for 7 years, and I worked the blocks the entire time. And I had an inmate like threaten me a couple of times with it, but I mean, that's about as far as it went. Like somebody going, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this," and me just being extra careful every time I walk by that dude's cell. But
Apparently
no, I never actually had that happenstance occur.
Yeah.
Apparently this person had more follow-through than you guys encountered.
Well, a woman awaiting trial in the murder of her Nassau County salon co-owner is now facing charges after authorities say she threw feces on corrections officers at the jail. Kimberly Kessler was hit with a stun gun during the incident Monday. Okay, let's stop right there. And what is wrong with this sentence?
Hit with a stun gun.
Yes. Anytime that the news gets their hands on anything involving a taser or an e-bid, it's always a stun gun. There's no such thing as a stun gun, folks. Stun gun was a brand and doesn't exist anymore. And so was it an e-bid? Now an e-bid is the one where you take it in your hand and you go. And the other a taser is the one that shoots the wires out and goes zappy zappy zappy.
Wait a minute. A layman wants to interject here. And is it possible that the term stun gun has just entered the vernacular in the way other don't look at me like that. Other name brands become synonymous with whatever it is that they produce?
No. And I can tell you that for a fact because there was one time when we were working in said jail, for some reason I got voluntold that I was getting interviewed by the local newspaper because they were interviewing just people with interesting jobs. They wanted to interview a corrections person. Well, they couldn't get Buck for some reason. I think Buck literally ran across the parking lot to get away from this guy, and the warden grabbed me and shoved me into a conference room with him.
So you're like the poor man's Buck?
I think so. I think I am the poor man's Buck in this case.
That was good.
Yeah. Well, I sat down with this guy, and he so butchered and misquoted everything I said, and it was ridiculous. But one of the things he said in the article, and I can find it right now, and I can post it on my social media, I'm sure. The guy refers to, what kind of things are you trained in? And I said, well, we're trained in use of the e-bid. We're trained in use of pepper spray, the pepper ball guns. We also, we're trained in ass batons and everything. And I went down through the whole bloody thing. Talking about PATH and OCAT and all this other stuff. This guy writes in there, he's proficient in the use of the stun baton.
I remember that now. Oh my gosh.
It's like he was watching a Demolition Man that night as he was writing the article and decided that he was going to just introduce the stun baton into modern times.
Man. I remember the next time we were at shift briefing, right after that happened, one of the shift commanders just stood up there and went, and apparently now we have stun batons. Is that correct, Officer Raz? And we all just sat there and shook our heads. We're just like everyone in solidarity. Like we all knew that this was a gross paraphrase, a really bad one. Stun baton.
Yeah, that was bad. So screw the news. They don't know what they're talking about. Moving on. Authorities say corrections officer asked Kessler to move to another cell so hers could be sanitized. She took feces she had saved in a styrofoam cup and threw it at them. The officers then stunned her.
You know what? Shout out for being able to catch it in a cup, because I think we've probably all peed in cups, and that's hard enough.
I don't pee in a cup.
You've never peed in a cup?
Have you ever peed in a cup?
All right, I've had children.
Nope.
I've been pregnant, so I've peed in a cup a lot, and that's hard enough, but shitting in a styrofoam cup has got to be like Olympic style degree right there of.
I mean, are you shitting in the cup,
Well,
or maybe you shit and scoop it up with a cup?
That's what I was thinking there.
Okay.
The toilet. Well, just just for context and perspective, inmates actually have toilets inside of their cells if they're actually in cells. So, this is a very viable assumption that somebody might just be able to pop a squat into a cup. Like, remember, Saydar hasn't been inside the grueling, the depths of the prisons like we have.
Then I want to just register a complaint with, what is this, Kansas or Kentucky?
Jacksonville.
They really should have specified how the feces got in the cup. Because I
don't care about the feces.
I, as a news consumer, want to know. Like,
I don't care how Miss Kimberly Kessler bent a biscuit in a cup. I want to know what the hell they were telling her about getting stunned with their stun guns and.
We're focusing on all the wrong details of this article. How about we just let you proceed, Raz?
Well, here's the kicker. It was not the first time she was reported to have thrown feces while being a disruption in the jail. Corrections officers have been telling the judge during pretrial hearings about previous incidents. Quit giving this bitch cups! Defense lawyers are trying to get the physical evidence thrown out. They saved the shit!
Or the shitty cup.
It's in a bag somewhere. There's a shitty cup in a bag somewhere.
Waiting for her to get released so they can light it on fire on her porch.
Oh. Kessler is charged with killing Cummings, her co-worker, at the Yulee hair salon. Cummings' body was never found, but the Nassau County Sheriff's Office and Florida Department of Law Enforcement found evidence that blood at the salon was cleaned up and blood was found on some of Kessler's clothing. Holy crap! So this criminal mastermind was able to get rid of the body, but she's still flinging poo on people. But with the help of the FBI, items of interest in the case were found in a Georgia landfill. Holy crap!
Literally.
I feel kind of bad about laughing about this now.
Kessler,
I don't.
Kessler, who's been going on episodes of starvation and binge eating, was just 74 pounds when she appeared before the judge in October. The judge found Kessler's behavior was not driven by mental illness, but a personality disorder, and she has been deemed competent to stand trial.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So being a bitch is now just a fucking personality disorder? When the hell did that happen?
Well, funny you should say that, because the first comment in this article is, send her to a vet. They know how to handle crazy dogs.
Well, at least when she's, starving herself, she probably won't have much poo to throw at people.
No, that just means it's soft serve.
Who knows? I bet you she's channeling the spirit of Jane Goodall as we speak.
Oh, jeez. Well, speaking of pot, as we were earlier, this is an interesting article out of Ireland. Landlord evicts tenant for growing cannabis, then takes over his operation. A carpenter who evicted tenants from his property after he found out they had been set up a cannabis grow house, only to then take over the operation himself, has received a 2-year suspended sentence. John Sheehan, is there a more Irish name than that? I mean, seriously.
I just think this whole thing is wonderful. Guys busting a greenhouse for pot on the Emerald Isle. Like, that's just...
Well, I got a story that's actually happened to me. True story. It actually happened. But John Sheehan pled guilty at a Cork Circuit Criminal Court, say that 5 times fast, to possessing cannabis for the sale or supply and to cultivating cannabis without a license at his home in some town. Artglass? Okay, let's go with that. Back in October of 1919. 2019! Oh my God! I'm not even the one drinking soda. Detective Garda Will Hosford said the investigating has uncovered a sophisticated cannabis grow house with lights and a watering system set up in a shipping container in the backyard of Mr. Sheehan's house. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be that sophisticated. They discovered 23 mature cannabis plants with a street value of 18,400 euros. I'm assuming that's euros. Is that euros? That looks like euros. In the container. They also found 253 grams of cannabis herb with a street value of 5,066 euros. Did they really determine that it had a value of 5,066 euros?
I'm sure it's just math. Like they know what one gram is.
Why not just say 5,000?
Yeah. Or over 5,000. Okay, well.
Or 5,050.
The author obviously wants to be precise. There's value in
I
precision.
think he just wants to sound like he knows more than what he knows is what it is.
Probably. Mr. Sheehan made full admissions after being interviewed. He took responsibility for the grow house, which was set up in 3 separate rooms in the container, with the 3rd room containing the mature plants. The detective said that Sheehan told them that he had rented out the house to a Polish tenant, only to discover they had set up the grow house operation in the container. He evicted his tenants and burned the 33 plants that had been cultivated. The plot thickens. However, sometime after this, he was approached by a man who offered him 5,000 euros to resume the grow operation and produce a crop. As he was under financial pressure at the time, he accepted the offer and began growing another crop of plants. Sheehan told the whatever that word is for the paper, I don't know, I can't pronounce it. It's Gaelic or something. That the crop seized was the second harvest and that he had already made 5,000 euros from the first crop. Right on. I mean,
Pays better than
Score?
soybeans.
yeah. So long story short, he's gonna have to make restitution costs and everything else. But I mean, is 5,000? Let's just say dollars. Take the euros out of it. 'Cause I'm not sure what the exchange rate is right now. But let's just say it's $5,000. Is that a lot of weed, Buck?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like
Oh,
how,
yeah.
Like how much weed is 5,000?
Oh, geez. I mean, like, let's see here. 200. It's 200 for an ounce. 3,200 bucks would be a pound. $3,200 would be a pound. About a pound and a half.
That's gotta be a lot of plants. That's gotta be a lot of plants.
Would you say a shipping container full?
It'd have to be a shipping container full of plants.
I have no idea.
I mean, you know, a lot goes into that. You know, is it dried and cured buds? Is it just buds? Is it the whole plant? But I mean, like 32 plants, you could definitely get like, you know, a good sized container full of a product in there. Yeah.
The article said like practically nothing about the fact that he stole the operation setup.
You know, we don't have the greatest sources here on the Social Liability Podcast. You're relying on one mildly stoned cripple to you know, comb the subreddits to find the articles. So I will take partial responsibility, but again, we don't really vet these out, so we can't. We just try to make chicken salad out of chicken shit when it comes to these.
The thing is, though, Buck posts the majority of the articles in our group chat. I do sometimes. You're supposed to be the one that vets them and determines if they're good or not, because we don't read them.
Oh, I didn't realize I was supposed to vet everything. I'm just commenting on the fact that the article was perfectly great. And I'm not complaining about the article, but I'm just saying that the title was kind of misleading. That was not the main point of the article. The main point of the article was illegal weed operation busted.
Yeah.
And by the way, the shipping container was something that his former tenants had brought in and set up, and he's like, well, it's set up. I might as well use it. If somebody's going to give me $5,000 to use it.
If someone gives you lemons, you might as well grow some weed.
Yeah, I mean, no, but you know, I can see what you're saying, Saydar, because a lot of these guys writing and posting these articles just do this shit for clickbait. And you know, there's nothing material to the headline in that article. Like, it makes one very small mention about how it used to belong to somebody else. Like, I personally would have loved to have heard a little bit more about that too.
What happened to the Polish dude? I want to know, like, did he find a new place to live? I'm sorry, guys. I just want so much more than what we have, I guess, to offer.
You are about ready to inherit yourself a job if you don't stop. Like, that sounds like some. Yeah, you're starting to sound like somebody who might be able to improve upon this, and that's. Boy, if you start making that assertion, I'm going to start getting you in on the. You know,
I've been clickbaited into the podcast. That's what's happened. You guys clickbaited me into the podcast. Like, come sit in for a day. It'll be fun.
Yep,
and you'll live with a job.
Well, have you two been following this Matt Gaetz stuff that's been coming out lately?
Yes, I have.
No. So, what do you know about the Matt Gaetz stuff so far? Let's Saydar give us a little bit of a rundown.
Well, I know that he's super popular. He finally found a date for prom in his mid-30s. right?
I've never heard of this asshole.
Really? The guy from Florida? Like,
Not even. This is the first time I've heard his name.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Well, Vanity Fair.
you've seen his forehead.
You've seen his
Sorry.
forehead. So Vanity Fair is reporting this. Now, Vanity Fair isn't exactly like the most like
Hardest hitting?
the hardest hitting news source out there, but they do come up with some of the best headlines. It says, "Report: Matt Gaetz upgraded from just fucked to royally fucked."
Now, is that in reference to his dates? Or
Let's find. Would you do the honors?
okay. Since the news broke that the Justice Department is investigating Representative Matt Gaetz for allegedly paying women for sex and separately sleeping with a minor and transporting her across state lines, things have gotten exponentially worse for the congressman in a near bi-weekly basis. For instance, last Friday, we noted that the Republican lawmaker was well and truly fucked in light of Venmo transactions showing Gaetz had paid $900 to his accused sex trafficker friend, Joel Greenberg, which Greenberg proceeded to send to 3 young women. On Tuesday, though, new reporting indicates that he has been upgraded to exponentially royally fucked. I want to keep reading. You guys
Go
want to keep
by all
reading?
means, keep reading.
Yeah. Proceed.
Proceed. I mean, this is just entertaining in and of itself.
They sure know how to rope somebody in. All right. The New York Times reported that Greenberg, Gaetz' close friend, who was first indicted last year and has now been charged on 33 counts, including sex trafficking of a minor, bribery, stalking, and defrauding the Paycheck Protection Program, is said to have been providing investigators with information on an array of topics, including Mr. Gaetz's activities for several months now. Ooh.
Okay, let me just point this out. A lot of times when you're doing charging documents, you throw everything you can at a guy, and because you know you're going to plead down most likely, especially in federal charges. In federal court, you're guilty. It's just a matter of what degree of guilty. But if you're gonna charge somebody with 33 counts, including sex trafficking of a minor, bribery, stalking, why are you throwing on defrauding the Paycheck Protection Program? That's like saying, well, he committed a murder and he jaywalked.
Well,
Hey,
what?
you
Just
know what?
because
They
he
busted Al Capone for tax evasion.
just because he murdered somebody doesn't mean we should ignore the lesser crimes. I'm just saying. I mean, guilty is guilty is guilty.
Aha! You had an argument with us earlier about alleged crimes.
Well, this guy apparently has been cooperating with the feds for quite a while, so he's got to know that they've got him on something.
Well, let's continue.
Greenberg, who is currently in jail after violating the terms of his bail, reportedly told prosecutors that he and the congressman had encounters with women who were given cash or gifts in exchange for sex. According to 2 people familiar with the matter, the DOJ is also investigating if the 2 men had sex with a 17-year-old girl. It's not clear if Greenberg, a former Seminole County, Florida tax collector, has offered up any information on that front.
So we got a stoolie. You got a snitch.
You know, he could have easily avoided a lot of these charges if he'd have not used Venmo. He should have used Cash App. That's all I'm saying on that one. If he would have just used a different method of payment, he'd have been fine. At least on those things.
Oh, God. So how does the royally fucking continue?
A spokesman for Gaetz has insisted the GOP lawmaker did nothing wrong, telling the Times Congressman Gaetz has never paid for sex, and suggested that Greenberg was trying to ensnare innocent people in his troubles.
Yeah, they're just throwing pussy over the fence at this guy.
That's why he sent Greenberg $600. That $900. Anyway,
Using Venmo. Should have used Cash App.
You use WhatsApp instead of Messenger, don't you?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't. Nope.
Continue.
let's continue. Last week, the Daily Beast reported that Getz and Greenberg were both connected on Venmo to several women, like one of the three who received the portion of the $900 marked for tuition and school, and at least one was paid by Greenberg with taxpayer funds via a government credit card. Now, I'd just like to point out that I once wrote a check to my baby brother, and I'm pretty sure in the memo line I wrote penis enlargement surgery because I'm an asshole like that.
Did he cash it?
Well, yeah, of course he did. But
I'd cash that shit too.
But I'm pointing out the obvious. I think we all know you can write the purpose for payment, whatever purpose for payment you want. Anyway, continuing. On Wednesday, asked if he had confidence in Getz, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise responded, "We've heard a lot of stories. I mean, obviously, I've read the media reports, but there's been nothing that we've seen yet from the Department of Justice. If something's going on, obviously, we'll find out about it. Right now, it's hard to speculate on rumors, but if something really formal happens from the Justice, we would, of course, react and take action. Presumably, they'd take him off of oversight of the Department of Justice."
Yeah, one would think. One would definitely think that would be your first step is maybe, hey, let's not have this guy in charge of the people investigating him. Well, apparently, the MLB didn't realize what happened to the naughty little. It goes right into another story.
Yeah,
it literally goes right into another story.
Has nothing to do with the MLB.
There is no even signature for the author or anything. It goes right into another story. Way to go, Vanity Fair, you bunch of hacks.
Yeah, at least they get good headlines, though.
Oh, they really do. I mean,
that first paragraph was rock solid. I mean, it really made me want to read the rest of the article.
Especially when you can put stuff into legitimate media and say royally fucked in your article.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked, but I read it.
So, this guy is basically trying to get pussy using Venmo. Is basically what I got from this article. And he's just a crappy individual to begin with. And if him and Tiger Woods hit the golf course, I'm sure they'd give a new meaning to playing 9 holes. That's all I got to say.
I think,
wow.
Well, I'm sure that it's hard to be a representative, and sometimes you just want to pay for company. And I think that's what he's mainly claiming that he had done. He wasn't paying for sex. He was paying for
companionship.
Companionship.
I'll tell you what. I worked with hookers. I could find a better companion with a homeless guy outside of a McDonald's. That's all I'm saying. You want to be with somebody just because you want to be with them, and then have the sun rise and fall on you. Buy a homeless guy something to eat. I'm telling you, you will be the golden goose. It will be as if you approach him. It will not be a cheeseburger in your hand. It'll be a chalice. And it's a lot cheaper than a prostitute. And, if somebody catches you, you're a good Samaritan, not a sex crazed guy.
I can actually kind of attest to that a little bit because there was a short period of time where I was actually doing vehicle repossessions. And I did this in Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Those were the three places that were really hit. And I'll tell you this. If you want to know where a fucking car is in Baltimore, Maryland, buy a hooker a coffee.
I believe it.
Oh, yeah. On cold nights, we'd go to freaking Royal Farms, and we'd get a bunch of black coffees and a bag of sugars and creamers, and we'd go give them to the hookers. And then we'd be like, these are the kind of cars we're looking for. Boom! They'll tell you.
Yep.
They'll tell you where Grandma hides their money for a coffee. They don't care.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you had a more intimate relationship with the ladies of the evening, and we know.
Not really. I mean, I was just like their brother. That was it. I saw what kind of drama ensued when male employees would get involved with the girls that danced and turn tricks, and I was not going to be that guy. That I saw enough. I saw enough unfold behind the dressing room curtain. I was just like, nope, I will never be like that. Mm-mm.
Well, I
No,
think
no, no.
I've followed this story, I don't know, for the last week and a half. And I think what's really people are getting hung up on, which wasn't covered by Vanity Fair, is one of the individuals that was supposedly paid to accompany um, the representative across state lines was under 18.
Yeah.
So he took a minor across state lines and may or may not have bedded the minor. And that's what
Really
we're
kinda,
still waiting on. Like,
yeah.
did it happen? Did it not happen?
It happened. Okay, we're taking a commercial break right now. We're not actually going to take a commercial break, we're live streaming on YouTube, but we're going to pick up right now. So if you do listen to us on our audio platforms, you will be hearing me talking about Anchor right now, but we're not going to subject you to that. Let's go right back into it with our next story. So now we're talking about a popular North Carolina teacher killed trying to rob a Mexican cartel member. I mean, that is what, going full retard right there.
Well, I can think of some reasons that it might have happened that he would still be the hero of the story. Like maybe the cartel ripped off one of his students and he was trying to help the student and didn't know who he was messing with. I'm just saying, we don't have to crucify the guy without hearing the story.
Well, but one of the things we do...
You obviously have just grossly missed the point of this entire podcast. We completely crucify the guy before we read the story, and then we backpedal and go, yeah.
But sometimes we do ask Buck, given the title of the story, what do you think this story is going to be about? So we've heard Saydar now say that it's some kind of romantic tragedy where the teacher was trying to do a UPN made-for-TV movie story. What do you think?
I think that he was trying to buy drugs, and because he was trying to cope with his life of being an underappreciated hack inside of a high school in North Carolina because they religiously treat their teachers like shit. And during this hypothetical drug deal, the cartel member tried to, stiff him on the check, and dude was like, "Fuck you! I'm taking my drugs and everything you have. Give me your shit." And got arrested for robbing the guy.
Oh no, he didn't get arrested. He got his ass dead.
Oh well, then, boom. Instead of take the whole story. Change nothing except for the arrested part. Changed to killed.
Well, I
would just like to say I enjoy living with rose-colored glasses. Thank you guys very much.
Well, since you're here and you're playing a very good Robin Quivers to our Howard Stern, why don't you continue with the next story?
A popular Union County teacher, described by family and friends as a devoted father, teacher, and coach, was fatally wounded in a shootout when he and his brother-in-law tried to rob members of a Mexican drug cartel. Alamance County Sheriff Terry Johnson said Wednesday. Barney Dale Harris, 40, taught Spanish and was head coach of the boys' varsity basketball and track teams at Union Academy Charter School in Monroe, according to his family and the school. He was found dead April 8th in the bedroom of an
Almanac?
Alamance.
Okay.
I'm guessing Alamance County mobile home that Johnson had called a drug stash house. Alamance County is east of Greensboro along Interstates 85 and 40, 55 miles west of Raleigh, and 115 miles from Charlotte.
Nobody cares.
If you want to find it on the map to find the drug house.
I'll just Google it.
I'm reading. You told me to read.
I'll just Google the town. I don't need a news article to give me directions.
Continuing on. Just before 1 a.m. on April 8th, Alamance County 911 received multiple calls of shots fired at a mobile home on Wyatt Road at Green Level, the sheriff's office said. Officers found 2 individuals with gunshot wounds. Harris was shot numerous times during what the sheriff described as an old Western shootout between 2 criminal enterprises. Sorry. All right, going straight. One of the enterprises being Harris and his brother-in-law, according to Johnson. Well, so much for my made-for-TV movie. The Mexican cartel versus high school Spanish teachers.
Who apparently is the one that knocks.
Well, we don't know if he was making.
He was cooking.
We don't know if he was cooking. Maybe he was just Spanishing. He was the Spanish teacher. Mexican cartel, there could be a connection. Buck, how did you learn to speak Spanish?
Whorehouses.
So we don't know.
It was whorehouses. I mean, like literally, you want to learn a foreign language, go find yourself a hot chick. Just start asking questions. I learned the whole language in 6 weeks.
Okay, I was looking for visited Mexico, lived in Mexico.
He doesn't even need to do that. I walked out of a block one time and came back and he was speaking Swedish.
I know. It's I'm totally jealous of your language abilities, Buck.
Din fru luktar Satan's kuk. That's Swedish for your wife smells like Satan's cock. What was that Swedish inmate in our jail for, Officer Raz?
I honestly don't remember.
He was a diaper sniper, and that's why I learned how to say terrible and gross things to him in his native tongue. So that way he couldn't file grievances on me, and it worked.
What was that? It was push my car.
That was Albanian for suck my cock.
Yeah.
Should we just list the languages you don't speak?
No, because I only speak fluent Spanish and fluent English now. Everything else just fragments. Order a pizza or get my shit kicked in. Like I can start a fight in a lot of languages. I just can't back it up with anything anymore. So I
run over their
refrain from
feet.
that.
Yeah, you could run over their feet, ram at their shins.
Well, if I were to pick a fight in a foreign language here in America, I could rely on the masses to play Good Samaritan while they are, keeping the guy from beating down the guy in the wheelchair. They'll never know that I'm deserving of the ass kicking, I guess. But,
Continue, Saydar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, move along.
Okay. Harris and his brother-in-law, Stephen Alexander Stewart Jr. of Wadesboro.
What a name. Stephen Alexander Stewart Jr. Dude's got 3 first names.
Now he's got 2 middle names.
Continuing on. Entered the home waiting for a cartel member to arrive so they could rob him of drugs and money, the sheriff said.
Always a smart decision.
Oh.
What? I was actually like 30% right.
I'm going to give you 40. I'm going to give you 40. All
I
right.
like you, Saydar.
When Alonzo Beltran Lara arrived, he was taken outside, bound by his feet, and shot twice in the head, execution style, according to Johnson, who described Lara as a cartel drug runner. Lara was alive when the officers arrived and was pronounced dead at the hospital, the sheriff said. On Sunday, Stewart Jr., 32, was arrested and charged with first-degree burglary and first-degree murder, according to the sheriff. Stewart Jr. is being held without bond at the Alamance County Detention Center. In August, Harris was charged in New Hanover County with a misdemeanor weapons charge related to carrying a concealed gun, public records show. At the time of his death, a court date was pending. At a news conference Wednesday, Johnson said officers found over 30 shell casings in and outside the mobile home where Harris was killed, and bullet holes in 3 other mobile homes. The trailer looked like it had been ransacked, the sheriff said. They were looking for money or drugs or both. A bag containing 1.2 kilos of cocaine, or about 2.6 pounds, And about $7,000 in cash was also found. Well, I guess they missed that when they were ransacking the place.
Apparently didn't ransack it too goddamn well.
I don't think the cartel was interested in robbery. I don't think that's why they went back. But
That wasn't their MO. No.
All right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the cartel likes money, but $7,000 is kind of like pissing in the wind. Who cares?
I mean,
like,
to them,
it's
no,
not
shit.
It's not. It like they find a penny, they pick it up, but it ain't worth going back to somewhere that has been busted already. Like the $7,000 isn't even worth it to a petty fucking criminal. That's when you cut your losses. You're like, damn.
I could have had $7,000.
Letter.
I would make a horrible criminal. I'm just saying. I thought Could you guys imagine being in high school and finding out that one of your teachers was killed in a cartel shootout?
I would have to imagine that the students probably suspected, because the students always seem to know a lot about what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, there were kids in that school who knew that their Spanish teacher was getting down before he'd go down. You know what I mean? Like, and he was a football coach. I'm telling you.
Nah, basketball and track.
Oh, whatever. Like that guy was. He was moving. He was teaching. He was selling. He was pushing. Like that guy was he had his fingers in all sorts of honey pots.
You know, I gotta tell you, I'm barreling down on 40, and I think I'm still the most innocent person I know. I can't imagine. Anyway, in conclusion, to this day, as sheriff, returning to the article, to this day as sheriff.
I didn't think you were the sheriff.
I just wanted to clarify for our listeners.
Just the deputy.
To this day as sheriff, I'll tell you right now, I'm still worried about some retaliation because the Mexican cartels, they don't forget. They're going to pay back somebody somewhere, he said, and that concerns me greatly as sheriff of this county. I had no idea that the Mexican cartel was in North Carolina.
Mexican cartel is anywhere the Mexican cartel wants to be.
Yep. Mexican cartel's probably got people in Uganda. I mean, like, nah, those guys, they get around.
Wow.
They get around.
Well, let's get away from teachers getting snuffed. Go to a country that likes to snuff its citizens. This is being reported by Variety, and then are popular and exceptional news source. But nevertheless, China launches hotline to report online comments that distort history or deny its cultural excellence. China's got a snitch app.
Wait a minute. Can we read that again?
China launches hotline to report online comments that distort history or deny its cultural excellence.
Oh. Okay, so report snitches get stitches. In the digital sense.
No, apparently the snitches are going to get rewarded.
Right.
And,
okay.
And those they're snitching on are going to disappear.
All right.
Yeah.
Took me a minute. All about your social credit.
Yeah.
All right. You want me to continue again?
I think she's doing a good job. I don't got to read it.
Yep, you've been elected.
You don't got to listen to me stutter through it, so this is by all means.
Should have brought back another drink. China's internet regulator has launched a hotline for citizens to report online comments that defame the ruling Communist Party and its approved description of history ahead of the party's upcoming 100th anniversary. Well, there you go. They're just worried about impressions for the anniversary.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, definitely. The new hotline will enable internet users to stop the spread of mistaken opinions and create a good public opinion atmosphere to pave the way for the July 1st occasion, the Cyberspace Administration of China said in a notice. People can also send in tip-offs via the CAC's website and app. For a while now, some people with ulterior motives have spread historically nihilistic false statements online, maliciously distorting, slandering, and denying party, national, and military history, excuse me, in an attempt to confuse people's thinking, the notice said.
False news! Fake news! Fake news! Not false news, fake news!
We hope that most internet users will play an active role in supervising society and enthusiastically reporting harmful information.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Wow.
But, I mean, I can tell you that, we spent, Saydar and I, we both spent some time in China, and this does not surprise me.
Well, I think it's totally in line with, what was it, about 3 years ago now that they launched the social credit system where you have to be in such good standing with the party in order to be able to
survive.
Well, send your kids to good schools, be able to rent a taxi, find an apartment. I mean, if you don't pull the party line, you don't get to live.
Yeah. I mean, this is what was the like? We went by a park at one point, and they had these like stone tablets, like pillar type things, that had like the different virtues of communism or socialism, and it was funny because they were all like in like all uniform except you got to the last one where it said freedom. It was in a smaller font. It was literally It was in a much smaller font than the rest of them. And it was just kind of like, yep, there it is. That's China.
I get that China's a totally different culture. And I cannot conceive of living in a country with 5,000 years of recorded history and what kind of nationalism that would garner for its people. But my first thought here is, well, I really don't like my neighbors. I'm going to report them for being bad communists. My boss didn't give me a raise. Well, that's because he's not a good communist.
Truly.
Right.
I mean, truly. Right. I mean, truly, that's what it comes down to. And you're really, delving into the whole Fahrenheit 451 concept here. Yeah. Everything is monitored. We had to use VPNs just to use the internet while we were over there, which were illegal, but I guess we did break the law while we were in China. I don't want to really admit that too loudly, but we kind of did.
You just admitted that on the internet.
Well, I'm not planning on going back.
What, to the internet? A little late there.
Anyway.
There is no going back once you entered the internet.
No.
Well, I know, that's why I'm like, you just told the internet that we did something.
Are you gonna use the app and report me?
No, I know that you're a horrible communist.
That's right.
Your social credit rating is like tanked, man.
But what is my capitalist score?
I would say that you're a pretty high scoring capitalist.
All right.
You buy the products and support the infrastructure.
But the products I buy are all from China.
Right. Well,
you're a good global capitalist.
Global capitalism.
Yeah, communism works when it's built on the back of capitalism.
Pretty much.
Right,
That's
China?
the extent of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that one went right over my head. I'm not smart. I went to public school.
Reading on.
Yep.
Where did I stop? Historically nihilistic information in official rhetoric is content that incites doubt in the party's account of the past. Well, we certainly wouldn't want anybody doubting the history of communism in China.
No.
The move comes in the wake of recent firestorms of online criticism sparked by nationalist social media users who dug up years-old and often since-deleted remarks deemed slanderous to China from public figures and brands. In the past month, such incidents have engulfed everyone from Oscar frontrunner Chloe Zhao to Chinese tennis champ Li Nah, and brands from Adidas to H&M, with flame wars pushing to an ever higher profile by celebrity participation. With the new hotline, internet users can flex similar muscles with direct government support. It will accept 4 types of content complaints: distortions of history, attacks on the party's leadership, guiding guiding ideology, principles, or policies, the defamation of heroes and martyrs, and denials of the excellence of traditional Chinese culture, revolutionary culture, and advanced socialist culture.
Yeah. See, here's a big difference for the people that don't really have never really traveled or done anything. Other cultures see the world in different ways. I know, weird concept, but whereas the United States, we're in the grand scheme of things, we're young.
Oh, very young.
We're very young. We're teenagers.
Oh,
We-
yeah.
we
Oh,
think-
yeah. We're not even teenagers, man. We're still in the infancy of being a nation.
We think
Like,
100 years is a long time. That's just...
Like Saydar said, like China's got 5,000 years of recorded history under their belt. We got 200 years.
But here's the whole thing that you got to remember. Whereas in like the American culture, we're like America, and we act like we're like this big nationalist, like we love our country and everything. Bullshit. We don't love our country. We love ourselves, and we do everything in our power for our own benefit. China.
I think you need to explain what you mean there. I understand what you explained.
Okay,
but
then interpret for me, because you've interpreted for me for 20 years.
I think what you're trying to say is we love our country because of the freedom that it provides us, because our shining light up on the hill as Americans is, I do what I want.
I do what I want. I mean, Florida man is kind of like synonymous with America.
It's an extreme, but yeah, it's a caricature of what it means to be American. And we mean that in the nicest way possible, right, Raz?
We do, but and y'all jokes aside, we do see things as though we act like we are very patriotic and everything, and during times of crisis we can be, but for the most part we are very what's best for me or what's best for my little community, whereas Chinese culture is what is best for China, because China doesn't care. China does not care. Nothing phases China, because China says, I've been here for 5,000 years. I'll be here long after you're gone.
Okay, I think what you're talking about there is more the difference in and it's not unique to the United States, but in a lot of Western cultures, the individual is important. The individual has value. The individual is the focus. We're raised to be, I'm unique. I'm important.
I'm a delicate flower.
I am. I'm a delicate flower, and I matter, and my existence here matters. Whereas many Eastern cultures, China included, the individual comes secondary to the needs of the collective. And that's just how people are enculturated in their society. They are raised to believe that their value is lesser than the value of the whole.
What's Mexican culture like, Buck?
Mañana.
In the morning?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. That's the best way I can summarize it. That's why Mexico will always be there, because they have mañana, and that is the whole mantra of the people there. No matter what happens, no matter what, good for me, good for you, good for us, we'll figure it out mañana. That's how Mexico rolls, and that's why I liked it there.
Thank you, Buck.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I went on a little, lesson rant, but all right.
It's all right. I do it all the time.
Going back to the article, the CAC notice did not explain what punishments would be in store for violators. China already frequently detains and jails people for online speech deemed politically inappropriate. For instance, last week authorities in Jiangsu province detained a 19-year-old for his insulting online comments about Japan's 1937 invasion of Nanjing during the Second Sino-Japanese War. Earlier this year, authorities introduced new legal clauses stating that those who insult the country's national heroes and martyrs can be sentenced up to 3 years in prison.
And let's just face reality here. Chinese prison is no joke, and it's not someplace I want to be. It's probably a lot like Mexican prison, except with less apathy.
No, you know what? I mean, like, I've been to a Mexican prison, and it was pretty horrible. But I still wouldn't even want to imagine the fresh hell that would be waiting for somebody in a Chinese prison. Like that, I really envision that being like a literal fucking hole in the ground. Like that's I don't know what it is for real, but I don't imagine that you could get anything that even remotely would be considered humane treatment in a Chinese correctional institution.
I was terrified of that, of ending up in a Chinese prison while I was there. I was terrified of it, and it almost happened twice. Well, it almost happened once, and we were scared twice. I'll go into those stories in detail some other time. But Buck, there is a story that we're going to go into next that I'm kind of curious to get your take on it. So,
Okay.
so let's sit back and listen to the delicate tones of Saydar as she continues on with her reading from this travel noir story. Saydar.
American Airlines is apologizing after allegedly telling Rosalind Singleton, a two-time cancer survivor, that she could not board a flight from Los Angeles to Charlotte because of a hoodie that read, "Fuck Cancer." In a statement to Travel Noir, American Airlines said that its policies prohibit clothing that displays offensive statements and inappropriate language from being worn on board. In this instance, our team should have taken the broader context of the message displayed on the customer's shirt into consideration when explaining our policies. Our team has reached out to learn more about Ms. Singleton's experience, offer our apologies, and reaffirm our support for her efforts to fight cancer. The apology comes after Singleton took to Instagram after being told her hoodie was inappropriate. Tell me why the guy from American Airlines just told me if I don't put my sweatshirt on that I can't get on the plane, she asked.
Which doesn't make a lick of sense, but we know what she meant.
Yeah, I did read that right?
You did.
Okay.
So, what do you think of that, Buck?
You know, this is one of those areas where I have to look at it and say a rule's a rule, and you can't. It's not anything against somebody battling cancer. It's against the language, and the person who's working there has been given the authority and
The
the
responsibility.
discretion. The discretion and the responsibility to ensure that those rules are upheld. And the second he starts making exceptions, he begins to open himself up to a hard road with any other person that might have a problem with any other rule. If he bends for one person on one rule, he's gonna be subject to that. So I'm gonna give this guy, whoever made the edict that the sweatshirt wasn't allowed, I'm going to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, and unless there's something else in the article that says he was being a dick to the lady. But this to me is a description of somebody doing their job to the letter. That's really what it boils down to. It's no surprise that a company like American Airlines or any other airline would have a stipulation or rule that bars people from wearing clothing with offensive language on it. And as I'm sure all three of us can sit here and agree, the word fuck is, pretty obscene in most cases. The context should be taken into consideration, which is why the woman wasn't banned from flying immediately. She was just asked to remove the t-shirt or the sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I don't think that, if I were wearing a shirt that said fuck MS, and somebody were to say, hey, we've got kids that come into this place. We've got families. We've got people that are offended by that word. You think you could just take that shirt off or turn it inside out or something like that for the sake of everybody in here? And I would just kind of snicker a little bit. I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And I would do it. But that's just my take on it. Do you have a similar outlook?
I actually kind of say I'm a lot meaner with this stuff. Okay, so here's my thing. They have a rule that says you cannot have explicit wording on there. Okay, that makes perfect sense. It's anybody can fly a plane, or not? Yeah, okay. No, anybody can fly on their plane, and I make it a point because newsflash, people, I edit and upload the podcast. There's an explicit tag on the podcast. It warns people there is explicit language. Even on my old podcast, the Mount Moon Review, there was a disclaimer at the beginning saying that we try to keep it family friendly, but there are times adult language and adult situations do come in. It was a goddamn Pokemon podcast. For God's sakes, I'm a man-child, I know, but it happened. So we had a disclaimer on there. We wanted people to know that, if you're going to listen to this with your kids, you'll be aware I might accidentally drop an F-bomb. I do it quite often. I didn't on that podcast. I was pretty good on that one. People have to admit that I was pretty good. But nevertheless, I swear. Everyone knows I swear. I've been told at work I'm very blunt, which means I swear a lot.
Well, I mean, we worked in a prison for how long? I mean, that was kind of like the way it went.
It is. And, cancer aside, who cares? I mean, do you have to have a shirt that says "fuck cancer"? I mean, I want a shirt that says "fuck hot bitches." What's the difference?
Well, I mean, owning stuff like that's one thing. I got lots of T-shirts that have lots of different language on it, but I also know where I can really wear those.
See, I actually hate clothing that has text on it. Like, I don't like shirts that are like, why am I advertising a company or something like that? And I genuinely equate people's intelligence level to the size of the Disney character on their shirt. But I have some shirts here. Like one of my favorite YouTube personalities, abroad in Japan. He has a merchandise and it looks like a sake label. It says for fuck sake. I love that shirt. I don't wear that shirt out of this house. I wear it on the weekends.
Right. But so you do share the same aspect or the same viewpoint that I do. If somebody tells you to take the damn shirt off, take off the shirt.
No, my viewpoint is, why the hell did you even wear that in public to begin with?
Well, there you go.
Have some
same difference.
Goddamn, just common courtesy for society.
There you go.
What's your opinion?
My opinion is I'm disappointed that the article doesn't include a picture of the shirt, because my opinion is going to be dictated whether it says "fuck cancer" FUCK, or like the article says F*** K cancer. If it's censored on the shirt, then it's censored.
Her Instagram thing's on here. Let's take a quick peek at it, shall we?
So, we are in the airport. Y'all see what I got on? Tell me why the guy from American Airlines just told me if I don't put a sweatshirt
Survey
on,
says
that I can't.
Survey says it's not censored, and the guy from American Airlines is saying that because that's their policy. You're in public around children.
Well, fucking around children. What if a goddamn grown-ass woman or man doesn't like seeing fucks on the shirt?
Well, I really don't care about what a grown-ass man wants to see. Or maybe I don't want to see your caricature on your shirt. Your caricature? Look at that. Look, he's such a heteronormative cis white gender male. I am offended.
Actually, I would just say it's false advertising. We both know his beard isn't that well kempt in real life.
In case you're wondering, I am wearing a shirt with my own face on it.
Your caricature.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry you had cancer, but fuck you.
I'm going to kind of roll with that as well.
And-
you know what you wear in your own house on your own time. That is absolutely your business.
What
But
do
the
you mean
second you start
why is this
going
guy
to
telling me I
businesses
can't
around
wear
other
that?
people, no.
Why are you telling me I can't wear it? Because it's my fucking job. Shut up, bitch. Get out of here. Okay.
Pretty much.
So, I said at the beginning of the episode that we were going to name this Felonious Douchebaggery Part 2. We changed that, and for once, I didn't come up with the title. Buck didn't come up with the title. Saydar came up with the title.
Woot woot.
So we named this episode. This is episode 46. You're in the fake army now, and this is freaking great. Man arrested for creating fake army unit. Yeah. See, this is why I wanted you to read these. I can't read. Los Angeles. A Chinese man was arrested for creating a fake U.S. Army unit and convincing immigrants that joining the squad was a path to citizenship.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yu Peng Deng, 51, allegedly gave his recruits military uniforms, had them parade in Los Angeles suburb, and took them to a decommissioned USS Midway aircraft carrier, which is a museum in San Diego. Deng charged more than 100 fellow Chinese nationals a fee of between $300 and $450 to join the fake army unit, according to Los Angeles District Attorney's Office.
All right, this is extreme douchebaggery.
It is, but it's funny. He called his bogus squad the U.S. Military Special Forces Reserve Unit, or MSFR for short. And he gave himself the lofty title Supreme Commander. Aside from telling recruits that belonging to the unit was a path to U.S. citizenship, Deng also urged them to pay him cash for higher military rank, according to prosecutors. He also allegedly provided them with fake documents and phony military identification cards. Deng, a resident of Los Angeles suburb of El Monte, was arrested on Tuesday by sheriff's deputies. He was charged with theft by false pretenses, manufacturing deceptive government documents, and counterfeit of official government seal. Deng faces up to 8 years in prison if convicted. He is scheduled to be arraigned on Wednesday and is being held on $500,000 bail. Jane Robinson, a spokesperson for the district attorney's office, declined to comment on how Deng was caught. All the details and evidence will come out at the preliminary hearing, she said.
Oh man, this is bad.
All I can do is picture a whole bunch of cops yelling this guy's name. Dang! Dang! Dang!
Well, it's funny because there's
damn right, dang.
There's a picture of his little unit here, and they've got modern TDU uniforms, except one dude is wearing. Oh, I'm sorry, two of them are wearing three. I see three. Three are wearing berets. One of them's wearing a drill sergeant's big old brim hat, and then there's Dang himself, who looks like he just came straight off of a North Korea propaganda poster. I mean, he's got the uniform on, but he's got that scared look in his eye. It's bad. But how do you convince people that you're the army?
Because he took recent immigrants. People were trying to immigrate from China. We just left another article talking about what it's like to live in China.
The cultural differences, yeah.
Yeah, but we have also met people living in China who were desperate to immigrate to the United States, and struggled with that. Being able to or not being able to. These people at least made it to the shore, and now they find somebody who speaks their language and looks like them and is telling them, I'm going to help you become an American citizen. All you have to do is give me $300 and do what I tell you to for a couple years, and I'll get you a citizenship. Okay? I mean, this is like super douchebaggery. Super douchebaggery.
The guy's probably going right off the aspect that you were talking about earlier. It's for the country. And that's
Mhm.
how they were raised. So he gets over here and he's like, your country needs you. You will join. And in exchange, you will get citizenship. And people are probably just like, okay, that's the way it's done here. When in Rome, let's do it.
Uh, this is rough. I mean, this is rough. I genuinely feel bad for all these people.
So do I. And I I think it's telling that there was no article or no mention in the article about any type of lawsuit against Stang. I mean, are these people, are they going to be able to stay? Do they know that they have a right in this country to fight to get their money back?
I have a
Probably
feeling,
not.
I have a feeling it's probably already gone.
Well, there's that. There's that. And it's hard to get blood from a stone.
Yeah, this is just horrible. Hopefully, this guy actually does see the inside of a jail cell.
Yeah.
I really do hope so. But, jeez.
I wonder how he was caught.
I really do kind of want to know, but I also want to know, like, if well, they were buying ranks. That means something. But, TDUs and boots and just, the basic uniform isn't cheap.
Well, in the picture, I know our listeners can't see it, but it looks like they're standing in front of an official looking building. So he's paid for a building, he's paid for cameras, he's paid for seals and flags and everything that goes into that.
I kind of get the impression that this guy is not doing this for profit, but he is more doing it because he's got people saluting him. Kind of like a police impersonator. They're all happy to just be seen as somebody in authority, and that's kind of what I'm without actually psychoanalyzing the guy. I kind of get that impression. That's probably what this is about. He's in charge of something. He's got people calling him sir, and yes, Supreme Commander.
We've known people like that, man. I mean, like they get a uniform on and they think that they're just something special, and now he's got a whole following of people. There's some validity to that theory there, Raz.
I mean, you take out the word army and add the word cult, and this is like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah.
Stay away from the grape Kool-Aid.
Yeah, really do. I mean, that's bad.
Well, this is bad too, man.
That was full of cyanide.
Well, I don't know what the Supreme Commander's going to ask of his people.
Oh, God. Gotta martyr yourself for the country here, folks. Oh. Oh.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that it's only up to 8 years. I would have thought that, impersonating military and theft by deception, and I would have thought it'd be more than 8 years.
I mean, mostly he's getting charged with like forgery. I mean, really, that's. I'm looking at the charges. I think he's mostly being charged with forgery.
Now, the question is, do you think he could have gotten away with it if he, instead of calling himself the Special Forces Super Commander Reserve Unit or whatever it was, if he just called himself a militia?
See, that's the thing. I don't think he's being charged with anything other than creating the fake documents. So.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, it says he's charged with theft by pretenses. So that's for stealing the money. Manufacturing deceptive government documents. So that's the forgery. And counterfeited an official government seal. So yeah, he's not getting charged with anything related to impersonating. Which is probably being the fact that he didn't say, we're the 82nd Airborne. He made up a unit. He made up a rank. So he's not impersonating.
That dude figured out how to cheese the system.
He cheesed it.
You know what? I would try to bust him for like starting an army inside of the United States.
You're allowed to do that.
Damn it.
There's militias everywhere.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I know you're allowed to do that. That's why I said damn it. Yeah, you're totally. People do that all the time. No, this dude totally gamed the system. Is if he
I'm
could have just done what he was doing without forging anything, he could have got away with it.
I'm in awe.
If it wasn't waiting for those meddling kids.
Now I just want to know how he got caught all the worse.
I know, right?
Like, did one of his officers try going into a PX to get a discount or something?
Try to get on base or something.
Yeah.
That's possible. But who knows? Buck, do you have anything else for us this week, my friend?
No, not really. Not really. I mean, things are things here. I mean, yeah, not a lot happens in cripple world. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, Saydar, thank you for joining us this week. I know this is a strange thing, and our viewers aren't really accustomed to it. But we were talking about having an episode where Buck and I just weren't there, and we had you and caregiver Katie do one, and we weren't going to say anything. We weren't going to mention it, and we were never going to speak of it again, and just let it happen. But this is a happy compromise. So maybe,
yeah, I think it's a good compromise.
maybe we'll do it in the future. But again, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on so many platforms, Buck. Oh my Lord, the amount of platforms we're on is kind of ridiculous. You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you do like our video, hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live on Facebook with our recordings. You can subscribe on just about every single podcast platform. Apple iTunes, Spotify, you name it. Just leave us a good review too. I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, really, that'd just be awesome.
Yeah.
Tell a friend.
I mean,
Tell a friend. Yep, tell a friend. Check out Buck's series on our YouTube channel, Better Than Bad. You can just look for the Mount Moon Crew, look for the Social Liability Podcast, or look for Better Than Bad with Buck. One way or another, you'll find our channel. That being said, folks, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Social Liability Podcast.